My first impression of this phone is worth the upgrade. Welcome to my channel, and in this video we're going to talk about the new Samsung S24 Ultra. There are varieties of color of this phone, but here in my hand I've got here the lovely yellow. I am a fan of Samsung, but since the existence of the S21 Ultra, I cannot really appreciate the upgrade to S22 to S23. But this year, they have finally made a phone that is worth paying again. Let's start this video, guys, with unboxing. The first two things that I've noticed when opening this phone is the sides. The curves of the S24 is significantly flat compared to the S22 and the S23. There is no curves at all, and I like it. But because the curves is gone, I can obviously see the bezels on the side now. The bezel is not present at all in the previous generation of phone, but I still love the design of this phone because I love sleek edges. The second thing that I've noticed in this phone is the weight, because this phone is obviously more heavier compared to the S23 and the S22. This is caused by the titanium frame, because we all know that titanium is more heavier than aluminum. And to be honest, I think this phone can cause damage to your face if you drop this phone while lying. Of course, the color is also noticeably different. This is the only color that has bright and gives me better feeling of this phone, but this is not one of the changes that gives me a wow in the first impression. Aside from those, the rest of the changes is like the same, at least for the first impression. I also have noticed that the camera of this phone is more protruded and bulky, the same as the location of the S Pen, and it's not very clandestine anymore, so this is more prone to be accidentally removed when not being used. But with a perfect protective case, I think this will not be an issue. We are aware of the more improved brightness of this phone to the previous one, but while playing comparison game with my phone, I have noticed the screen color is different. I also have tried to make the settings similar to my old phone, but the color of the S23 Ultra is more vivid compared to this phone. But again, guys, this difference is not significantly noticeable, even though I like more the color of the S23 Ultra. But yeah, as what I've said, you will not notice it unless you compare this side by side. The S24 Ultra's matte titanium body is not very appreciable because of the color, or this is just me maybe. I'm always holding titanium in my main job. I'm working in theater, so I'm always holding titanium implants and instruments, so I'm very familiar with titanium and the feeling of titanium. But I always love titanium, but I wish all my DIY tools are titanium, but titanium is just very expensive. Yeah, all about titanium. Moreover, the position of the buttons and the camera are still the same, but there are only some minimal tweaks. Instead of one, we now have two microphones here on the top, and also the speaker on the bottom is now open and looks like an SD card slot. And that is most likely the most upgrade of this phone physically. Now, the camera, and this part has significant changes. We still have the same number of cameras, but I noted that there are another camera options in here. We have now 5x zoom. Samsung has replaced that 10x zoom to 5x zoom, but do not worry about this, guys, because we still have the option to have 10x zoom, but in a crop mode. This is not a downgrade because the cropped 10x zoom of the phone is still fantastic. You will never know the difference. In here, I'm going to make a camera comparison to the S23 Ultra for both photos, videos, including stabilization tests. Alright guys, so this is the camera comparison between the S23 and the S24. The left here is the S24 and the right is the S23. We can also see here the difference in vividness, and the color of the S24 is more diffused and more vivid here in the S23. But even though this is the difference, it has a little bit of similarities. But the only thing is, the big difference is the low light in here, because the S24 here in the low light performs better, and it is more sharper and more natural. So I prefer the S24 now. And also in here in the video test, we can also see in here that the stabilization of the S24 is better compared to the S23, which is a good thing and which is nice for the upgrade as well. So this is a 4K 30 video sample from the Samsung S24 Ultra's main camera. Now, I'm going to test the ultra-wide version of this camera. Now, this is the ultra-wide version. As what you can see, it's a bit wide and you can see all the mess around. And now I'm going to test the 3x zoom, and I don't think I'm going to proceed with the 5x zoom because I'm not going to move the camera from this side. So now let's check the 3x zoom. So this is the 3x zoom, and it's very near my face now, guys. I cannot really see it yet because the camera is facing the other side and the screen is the opposite side of the camera. So I cannot really check it now, but I will test it later when editing. So I'm not going to proceed with a 5x zoom because it's too zoom already and you're gonna see a lot of my face, and I don't like it. So yeah, this is a video camera sample. And that is the camera. Now let's talk about the second most important thing for people when looking at a new phone, and that is the battery performance. So this phone has the same battery capacity from the S23 Ultra. We have here the 4855 mAh for both phone in dev check, and the same 45 watt fast charging capability and 15 watt wireless charging. Most of these specs are the same, but the main difference is the CPU chipset. The S24 Ultra has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and as what Snapdragon has promised, this phone has better battery performance compared to the S23 Ultra. Snapdragon said that this CPU will perform 30% more better and battery efficient, and I cannot really test that 30% efficiency, but upon comparing this phone in dev check, the S24 Ultra consumes less energy and discharges slowly compared to the S23 Ultra. My S24 Ultra here has the complete copy of my S23, so all the apps I have here in my S24 is the same with the S23, and through here I noticed a difference, and it is significant. So yes, this phone has longer battery life to the S23 Ultra. The upgrade from the internal parts, of course, the CPU, this phone has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and the GPU is the same, the Adreno 750. This phone has also two RAM variations, the 8GB and a 12GB. Also became more brighter from 1700 to 2300 nits, and this improvement in brightness is not very noticeable because Samsung has already fantastic display since the existence of the S21 Ultra. Now let's talk about AI. We are aware that Samsung is very proud of the technology because this is an innovation. Here are some lists of the AI features that will help make your life more easier. These are the 6 common most helpful AI features of the S24 Ultra, and we have some more. And due to its massiveness, I'm going to make a separate video on it. So make sure to click that subscribe button and like to see that future video. And anyway, for those who are not aware, these features are existing already since a couple of years ago. Samsung just made it more convenient to be used. First I have mentioned is the searching photos by using a circle. I normally use this before with Google Photo Search, and I do this manually. Just click or drag a photo of the movie or screenshot of movie trailer that you want to search or you want to know, or search a meme by photo on Google, and it's really helpful. But Samsung made this just more convenient to be used. The second is the slow-mo video. This is a feature that can of course slow-mo video, but this feature applies to make a video smoother even though it's slower than 30 FPS. We also have the background eraser. We are aware that this is already present in the existing phones in other phone brands. And we can erase unnecessary photo bombers in the back, and we can even rearrange the location or the size of the objects of our background. So yeah, the Google Pixel has this AI thing as well, but Samsung just made it better. The interpreter. These of course are interpreter, and we can interpret conversation here from one language to another, the same as the Google Translate. But in the Samsung S24 Ultra, we only have 13 selected numbers of language, but in the future, they might add more language in here.
Hello, I'm so hungry. What is your food tonight?
สวัสดีค่ะ ฉันหิวมากเลย คืนนี้อาหารอะไร
Live Translate. This allows us to speak to another person in different language. Again, this option has the same 13 language options only. This technology is not perfect, but it will be in the future. Another is the summarize button. So to be honest, this is a very fantastic feature, guys. Well, ChatGPT can do the same thing, but this is just very convenient to be used. This feature is not perfect though, because there is a word count limit, so you cannot use this feature in your research paper yet. I also have tried to use this feature in my phone review script and this script, but the result is this. These are the 6 most common, but there are more. Bixby is an example of an AI, but most YouTubers do not mention that because that is an existing thing already. But it works for me very well, especially when I'm driving. My gaming experience in this phone is the best experience so far. The display is just perfect and very sharp, and I love it very much. I also have noticed an improvement in the sound quality, so gaming in this phone is more appreciable compared to its predecessors. In conclusion, the great upgrade of this phone from the previous generation is worth upgrading is of course the CPU, the battery life, and the changes in camera, and of course the AI. These are the 3 things that for me is very helpful, especially for students. So what do you think about this phone, guys? Do you think this is worth the upgrade? Please let me know in the comments below, and also please subscribe to the channel to see my next videos. Thank you for watching.